Hey guys, Artosis here with another cast from the CasterMuse Narak Star League. This is a match between Mighty. This is the strongest Protoss player that hasn't been in ASL as of yet, so I guess we can still call him an amateur technically. Going up against Yabsab, one of the strongest Zergs up-and-coming Zergs out there. Just both of these players fantastic. They've done very, very well in the ACS, the Africa TV Challengers Star League for players that haven't been in ASL yet. But yeah, they're both super, super strong. And I've been enjoying casting a lot of their games lately. Mighty has shown us some fantastic styles with his Protoss play. I think he's really one of the big futures of Protoss overall. Yabsab just seems like a very solid Zerg overall also. I've actually had the chance to play against both these guys on the ladder some, and I tell you, you can feel it when you play against them. They are definitely pro gamer level, and players that I think we're going to see do very well in upcoming ASLs. So the map is Ultimate Stream, as you just saw. A pylon going down here for Mighty, and obviously he is looking to go for a very fast expansion here, probably a Nexus first. Of course, you have this ramp leading up into your natural, so that makes defense so much easier. It's also a very long rush distance from main base to main base. So rushes, not that common. Fast expansions, extremely common and easy to defend. Looks like Yabsab here going to go for that 12 hatchery as expected. And here comes that very quick Nexus out of Mighty. Going to throw that down immediately, and we'll see if he goes for any more probes first. He's going to go into Forge or what? Makes another probe. Okay. Being pretty darn greedy so far here. And let's see where he goes with the building. I imagine it's just going to be a Forge, but, you know, we've seen craziness before. It could end up being a gate. Let's see. Oh, it is a gateway. Okay, so that is a super hard counter to a hatchery first play. If your opponent goes for a quick spawning pool, you are dead. Of course, that is not what's happening here, though. And you can't really expect quick spawning pool because... well, again, the map is so long, and if you do anything defensive, you are going to smash it. So, against this 12 hatchery play, Mighty is going to be very, very happy with his opening. He's going to get up here and scout right now. He does start the Forge as a bit of a backup, but as he gets here and sees that it is, in fact, 12 hatch, he's going to know he doesn't need a cannon quite yet. We'll see how quickly he makes one. Probe getting right in, and of course, going to want to keep track of how many lings get produced. In the meantime, Yabsab sending a drone out for a third base. Super common on Ultimate Stream to have the Zerg take another natural. And you can see he's going to go ahead, throw that down right here. And this is going to be incredibly hard to attack because, again, he's got another ramp to defend it. And then behind it, he's going to have this main base, which basically gives him 4 bases to macro off of. When Zerg takes this location and macros strongly, generally, they tend to win on Ultimate Stream. It's a very tough map in that type of situation. But this was an awesome opener from Mighty. So let's see what he's able to pull off with it. Let's see, like, what is his plan after this Cybernetic score? Obviously, we are expecting to see a Stargate and some Corsairs come down. But, you know, he could do something crazy. He could go, like, Reavers. He could... just go mass gateway units. There's all sorts of different plays that could be used. Now, 2 Zerglings run directly in the main base right before the cannon finishes. So a great scout there from Yabsab. This is very likely where that Stargate will go down, and he'll have the exact timing of that. In the meantime, this probe walking around completely unhindered in the main base, in the natural, seeing the layer timing. So he has a pretty good idea of what's going on right now. First Zealot pops out, and of course we do see the Stargate here as well, which is what Yabsab, I'm sure, was assuming he'd end up seeing. The Zealot coming over to try to pick this Zergling off, make it a little bit easier for that defense. And it seems like it's going to be a little bit before any attacks. We do have Zergling speed almost done, but you can't really expect any Zerglings to be made, right? There's not that many holes in this wall. This is going to be very easy for a Mighty to defend any sorts of attacks, so it should turn into a pretty big macro game. Now here's Mighty's probe. He's checking out exactly what we have down here. No expansion at that 6 o'clock expand. Instead, he checks over into this other natural, sees, okay, there's the third base, and he wants to check the main just to make sure that you don't have a macro hatch over here, because that's where you're starting to get way too greedy as the Zerg player. So he checks that out. And a couple speedlings, of course, going to be set upon this probe. You don't want him sneaking anything around or getting constant scouting info. Some more Zerglings going out onto the map. Spire on the way. Now, will this be actual Mutalisks or just Scourge? That remains to be seen. Over on the other side, this Zergling still left alive and has 2 kills now? Oh my god. I can't even believe that he picked up another kill with this. Amazingly done with the Zergling. But it is finally going to be picked off by that Zealot. Of course, he got tons of intel, and we can see that Corsair's on the way. He is getting that +1 attack for Corsairs, getting +1 as well for his ground units. And yeah, everything looking kind of normal so far here from Mighty. I guess the next part I'm looking at from him, how many Corsairs does he want to go for? Well, that's going to be dictated by yabsab because he's getting air armor. That tells us all we need to know. He is definitely going to be going for Mutalisks. Maybe not straight away. You can't tell if a Spire is upgrading. It always pulsates like this. In fact, that goes for every single Zerg building. The only exception being, like, if you're making a hive, for instance, it goes into the little cocoon, but that's it. But yeah, he's not going to know that that's on the way as of yet, but that's kind of a big deal. That means that you can end up going for mass Mutas, for mass Scourge. We don't see the Hydralisk Den yet, so I think he's going to end up doing that relatively quickly here. Like, I guess you could just pocket that armor upgrade and get it after your Hydras, but yeah, I think for sure we're going to see that mass airplay coming up. Now, more Corsairs being made. We only have 1 cannon in that main base. Looks like he can't get a probe stuck over here right now, so a little bit of a mistake perhaps. Another cannon going up. Decent amount of Corsairs out right now. The Scourge gonna fly over and maybe try to pick off a new one coming out. There's actually no photon cannon all the way up here, so it might be something he could end up getting, but no, the Corsair is gonna force him out of there. Yabsab really hitting his macro stride right now. Look at this. He's got a lot of drones, already up 34. Getting a good amount of hatches as well. Does make that Hydralisk Den. Is getting Hydralisk speed. Is getting +1 ranged attack for those Hydralisks as well. But let's see if we have like a bunch of Hydras being made. Hey, he's actually getting Overlord speed now as well. Zealots coming out across the map, so it might be a good time to add some Hydras to hit them from behind some of these SimCity walls. Zealots coming down, 5 Corsairs there as well with that +1 attack. They do 2-shot Scourge, very nice. A lot of Scourge here though. Let's see if those Corsairs come in as well. There's no Hydras to be seen. 6 Corsairs come in and just devastate the Scourge. One of them gets picked off, but now going after those Overlords. In the meantime, the Hydralisk then gets picked off. He's going to run out with those Zealots, and only 2 Hydras got started with no Hydralisk Den remaining. That's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Like, he can't really make any units, and he hasn't made any Mutas as of yet. Just utilizing that armor upgrade, I guess, for Scourge so far. Well, back at home for Mini, we have a couple DTs being made, the robotics as well. Double Hydralisk Den on the way here for Yabsab. So maybe he wants to pop out that range upgrade. I think his speed finished, but wants to get probably the... Oh no, speed hadn't finished. So he restarts speed, and obviously he's going to want to get range and into lurker tech here as well. Psystorm on the way for Mighty. Adding some more gates, and we'll keep a close eye on the overall number of gates. So we have 5 there, and there's the 6, and he can easily make a Nexus off of 6 gateways. Normally, if you're going to go really heavy on 2 base, you're going to go up to 8 gates. We don't see that here, though. A lot of Hydras being pumped out. That +1 flyer carapace is done. So that's going to help against Corsair harassment for sure. And definitely if he wants to pop Mutas out later on, that's going to be helpful as well. Kind of interesting, though. You don't see that all that often in Zerg versus Protoss, right? Where you just get the carapace upgrade, but don't really go Mutas. Normally when I see that, it just means that they are going to go Muta Scourge. Anyways, the Corsair's still flying around. Looks like he's got 7 at the moment. Doesn't seem like any more are being made. A very healthy amount of Corsairs. That's something that we've seen stylistically from Mighty. He likes to make a lot of Protoss players try to skimp as hard as they can. You know, end up making just like 1 or 2 and then realize that there's no Mutas and switch out of it into heavier ground armies. But Mighty likes to keep a good fleet of Corsairs around. Of course, it's going to help him to defend his High Templars as they're coming out against possible Mutalisk snipes. Yabsab macroing pretty heavily here. Starting to throw down a lot more creep colonies. A lot of static D. More hatcheries as well for his macro. He's up over 50 drones. That's a lot of drones for a Zerg player. So his economy is pretty insane. He's going to be able to produce a lot of units. And of course, that static D, very important. The Zealots come over, poke in. That's more of a scout than anything. You don't expect to be able to break through there at all. The Scourge, of course, kind of flying around, watching the units come out. He does have that nice spotting ability with those Scourge. Another Forge coming up for additional upgrades. Lots of High Templars being produced. Some cannons being added on as well. Oh, God! We actually had a DT pop over here. Ah, that's what happened. The shuttle helped him out. I was wondering. I was like, damn, that's not a whole lot going on. But it looks like he got a good amount of kills. They actually almost got the hatchery as well. The DT going to run all the way away. Corsairs coming in to clear out the Overlords now. Scourge coming in as well. And that +1 carapace really helping them. Brings the Corsair count down to 5. Some taking some hull damage already as well. And the DT gets back in for Mighty. Getting even more drones. He's up to 11 kills. He's going to get that hatchery as well. Gigantic plays here from our Protoss player. Big snipe goes down. Look at this. A few Zealots being ready to get dropped into there as well, just to add a little bit of muscle. The Corsair being chased away here by the Scourge. And what an important moment there for Mighty. You can see his supply is a lot higher. 136 against 97. Hive is on the way, though, and you got to be a little bit wary of that as a Protoss player. Defiler's just such a scary unit, truly, against all races. We have the double Forge going, the double Evolution Chamber going as well. Re-expanding to this 4th base. Yabsab isn't dead, okay? Like, Mighty got an advantage there for sure. He's in good shape, no doubt. But the game is not over. A little group of Lings getting stormed down as Mighty moves out across the map. This is too well defended. This many Sunkens on the high ground, plus Lurkers spread out behind, plus Hydras. That is not something that you're likely to break. And I think if Mighty attacks in there, it's going to be very costly. Over here, we don't actually have Lurkers, only a couple Sunks. This area is much more breakable. And look, yeah, he kind of pokes up. Here's the Lurker Spines, gets shot a little bit. I do not think this is doable, but you can utilize these Dragoons from that kind of out of range of a lot of the other units to do some damage. Oh my god, that Storm actually gets both of the Lurkers. That was, I thought those were spread enough to dodge the storms. Beautifully done. Still storming, and it looks like Mighty wants to go for a kill move here. I mean, if you break through the natural and kill all this off, you're definitely in good shape, but that is too many Lurkers. That is too many Hydras behind as well. I can't imagine him breaking through here right now. Started to try to get the hatchery. I guess he can pick up the hatchery. There's 2 Hydralisk dens, so we shouldn't really care about that. In fact, the hatchery might not even go down. And honestly, what did he end up killing here? Sunken. A couple Lurkers, some Hydras, and he traded all of his High Templars and Zealots for that. I don't feel like it was the greatest move, and you can see that reflected in the supply. He was 136 against 97 before that. He's at the same supply, and we've had a huge growth spurt here from Yabsab. So, definitely didn't feel like a great attack. Didn't look like a great attack. Wasn't a great attack. All right, looking back over here, we now have Lurkers for Yabsab in his bottom left natural. Lots of macro hatcheries going down. The Nidus as well. So many drones. He's at 74 drones. That is like a StarCraft 2 count. You generally do not see that, but that is going to mean that Yabsab is going to explode as far as his macro goes. This is going to get very hard for Mighty to break through. He's bringing a lot of Dragoons down. He's got good upgrades. +2 attack already done. +1 armor almost there. He's taking his own 4th base during this. Yeah, this mostly Dragoon army, like, I guess you can roam with it a little bit, but attacking up into these positions, again, it's so difficult. It's not something that is advisable. You saw what happened over here, and that's just something that kind of echoes throughout the game, and part of why Ultimate Stream is considered a Zerg favored, right? You can kind of set up locations like this in 2 locations, so he's only defending 2 locations that are pretty much unbreakable, and that gives him 4 bases total. And then once you have all that defended, you take this as your 5th, you go into Defilers, And it gets really hard for Protoss. It's like, well, the one thing you can do as Protoss, and I really like that we see Mighty doing, is taking additional Nexuses. He's not just running into these bases and headbutting them nonstop, right? Well, he did the big headbutt here where he cracked his skull, but at least he's backed off now. He's just kind of roaming around with his army, picking off units that are out there, taking another Nexus, so he's going up to 5 bases himself very, very quickly. And we'll see where he goes from there. He's getting all sorts of upgrades. We see Observer Speed on the way. I think he already got Shuttle Speed. You know, obviously he's got 2 Forges rolling, +3 attack already done, getting Plasma Shields even. So really spending his money trying to upgrade the quality of his army. Is that going to be enough against this just unbelievably defensive position? Again, I don't think that you can break it, but if you start to get a lot of High Templars, you spread them out. I mean, we'll see if he wants to go into Reaver play. I've seen occasionally some heavier Stargate play in the late game. It's a very rare thing to see, though. I'm not expecting to see it from Mighty. But he's definitely got to do something. Maybe some Dark Archons even to help deal with those Defilers. Obviously, Feedback going to be a very strong spell against Defilers. Little group of units over here that he's on a move command through, but he will end up attacking and can knock that out with this Zealot Dragoon army. Corsair coming down to push this back, at least for now. And he will clear that. But Yabsab on his 75 drone count, looking very strong. Kind of has everything that he wants right now. Like, the only things that we're missing are Greater Spire and Ultralisk Cavern. Other than that, he's got it all. We have that plus melee attack on the way, as well as Adrenalings become the strongest thing in the game. Another Carapace upgrade on the way. I believe that's +3 missile attacks. Yeah, +3 missile attacks coming right now as well. So his upgrade's going to be insane. His Defiler's going to be so strong here. A lot of cannons going up at this 5th base. We haven't seen him try to take another main base area. I think if Mighty can take this base and fortify everything with High Templar Cannon Reaver, I think that becomes, like, incredibly awesome. Oh my god, I'm so happy about this. Mighty truly is my favorite Protoss player. He's making an Arbiter Tribunal. This is actually something I've talked about with Tasteless a lot, but he forbids me for saying an ASL cast. Well, you're not in charge of me here, Tasteless. No, just joking. But, like, going Arbiter, I think, is such a cool play. A lot of Protoss players use just Mass Speed Shuttle later on. But honestly, a Recall to take out a main is awesome as well. You can make 4 or 5 Speed Shuttles and try to bring everything in, but there's nothing like recalling 25+ units into a base to make sure that it's dead. So a very cool play going down there. Still roaming about. You can see the power of the Dark Swarm here, of the Plague as well, plaguing those goons. These things are all going to go down to 1 health. So painful for the Protoss to deal with. Just can't break through this area. But as he gets up into the... I really hope we end up seeing a recall this game. I think that'd be so cool. I don't think I've ever actually seen it utilized to kill main bases against Zerg, but I really think it's a cool play. All right, more cannons. 5 bases. I mean, his economy is fantastic. He's still trying to put some pressure on. As you can see, he's got Archons mixed in here as well. And with that +3 attack... Oh, Plague on an Archon, it makes it stronger, all right? They don't care at all about that. But here comes a lot more units. Lurker Ling coming in from the other flank. Looks like Mighty's taking some good fights here in the center. But it's not like Yabsab is going to run out of stuff. He's got such a big economy, such a big bank, and a ton of army supply here as well. Although this army will end up getting cleared out. The Lurker's doing some damage. Arbiter still being made. Double Robo is out. Love to see it as well. Observer's still being kept alive, getting those Plasma Shield upgrades. Hasn't started that +3 armor as of yet, but that's all right. Can still get that. And you can see, look at this. Yabsab just sending forces out. He wants to kill everything, and he will end up picking off these Archons and most of the Dragoons. Of course, the Dragoons have already been plagued, so they aren't that strong, and with the Dark Storms out, it's harder to utilize those Dragoons as well. Now, Zealots coming down. Nice storm onto those Hydras. Hits those Zealots as well. Another one goes down. Oh, don't have the Kadarin Amulet upgrade yet, but as this game is getting so big, that's definitely something we could see. More Defilers being made. Arbiter is out. stasis on the way. That's really interesting as well. I have definitely not seen stasis utilized, but you could have that. You know, a lot of times when you're attacking into areas, a giant amount of like lurker, defiler, hydra comes up. Maybe a stasis on that would be strong. And here we go. In comes the lurker hydra. Storm starting to go down. It looks like he wanted to utilize Dark Swarm here to kill this base off, but getting absolutely smashed. Throws down a Dark Swarm, so no longer can this be hit by those cannons. Ooh, the Arbiter taking some pot shots. Are we actually going to see this bad boy used? Unsure of that right now. Zealot's coming down for a bit of a flank. Nice storm on those flanking hydras as well. The Zealot takes out, under the Dark Storm. He becomes incredibly powerful as well. Single hydra coming up and causing some troubles. And here we go. Gonna run forward here once again. Storm's going down, but look, he's only burrowing a single lurker. He's trying to bait storms out with less and less and less lurkers. Some more going down. The cannon's actually going to do a good job, though, since he doesn't throw down the Dark Storm to go with it. Plague gets cast upon the Arbiter, though, getting very low in health there. This is kind of a crazy game. I haven't really seen anything quite like this before. Those cannons going to be taken out, it looks like, from these cracklings as they run up. Lurkers coming forward to burrow once again. Another storm goes down. The Arbiter gets picked off. Does not get used. But enough units coming down that he might end up holding here. Oh, the storm's killing 4 lurkers. Beautifully targeted there from Mighty. Yabsab being a little bit too clumping with that attack, but continuing to try to break through here. His cost efficiency is very low, but his units are very high. And it looks like he's finally going to take out this 5th base of Mighty, which is kind of heartbreaking because Mighty doesn't have a lot left. He's mined out his natural. He's mined out his main for the most part. His 3rd base, okay, still pretty healthy. His 4th base, actually lower than his 3rd, surprisingly. But he hasn't tried to take the other main bases yet. So, yeah, it's a painful moment because look at Yabsab. He already took the 5 that we talked about, but here's his 6th base up and running. Got some static D. Here's another one just finishing up as well. So his economy is getting insane right now. Look at this, coming forward here, utilizing that Arbiter for its cloak. So far, some storms going down as he clears this army, but everything kind of gets plagued. Of course, Plague actually shows units that are cloaked as well, so has that dual use. Zealot Archon running across the map with their 3/2/2 upgrades. Oh, that's a lot of lurkers. You got to back up against this. Cannot fight against this amount of lurkers without that size storm. Got some Dragoons as well. The Arbiter still not casting any spells here. Would love to see something. Storm's going down on the Hydras. Walking away from that lurker burrow position. Really trying to utilize the actual cloaking technology here on the Arbiter, and it doesn't seem like it's doing super well. Obviously, the lurker is getting the spotting from this Overlord. Utilize that as a detector. Okay, finally uses a stasis. That looks really incredibly weird. That's awesome. I love it. Okay. Not something that you see every day right there. Amazing. Okay, but what is Mighty going to do? He actually needs another base because he's not doing any damage to Yabsab right now, which is definitely a problem. Look at this, the Scourge coming after. He micros the Arbiter out of range. Saves it right there. But yeah, Yabsab is getting just gigantic. He's still maxed out. He's up 40 supply, which is actually mostly in probes, or drones rather, but still his army super, super strong. This army that we're seeing from Mighty, not going to be quite as good. Getting up here on top of some of these lurkers, another plague was hit upon his army. Yeah, that cloak not quite working. The Overlord staying just out of targeting range from those Dragoons. Some more storms going down. Mighty's clearing big chunks of Hydras here, but he's not making any progress, unfortunately. More lurkers coming towards the center. Look at this spread that Yabsab has. 2 lurkers here, 2 lurkers here. More coming in from this location. It still has some Hydras on the high ground. Kind of sloppy, but overall doing the job right now. The Observer's flying. He has so many Observers, it's hard to even pick them all off. Doesn't even try. Yabsab just trying to run him over here with pure power. And honestly, it might end up working. We're out of minerals at this location as well, so only the 3rd base still mining here for Mighty, and that is a huge problem. He has very little left, very little production. And I think we're going to be seeing GG here. That's it. Yabsab takes down Mighty.